Dear students, welcome to our science episodes. Today we are going to discuss chemical combination. Chemical combination. Elements. There are 118 known elements until now. 92 are found in nature. The others are artificially made. An element is known to be a pure substance that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by any chemical reaction. Elements can be classified according to their properties and their electrons configuration into metals, nonmetals, and noble gases. Metals like aluminum, iron, nonmetals like oxygen, carbon, and neon as an example for noble gases. Metals. They are elements with less than 4 electrons in their outermost energy level. Here is a sodium element, and my question is to identify the atomic number, mass number, number of neutrons, and the electronic configuration. The number at the left bottom is the number of protons, which is equal to the number of electrons. The number on the top is the number of protons plus the number of electrons, and it is known as mass number. So we can calculate neutrons by subtracting the atomic number, which is 11, from the mass number, which is 23. It will give us 12 neutrons. This is the electronic configuration of sodium. 2 electrons in the inner energy level, which is called K, 8 electrons in the L energy level, and only 1 electron in the M energy level. Please note that each energy level has to be filled with the maximum number of electrons before going to the next or the following energy level. Here is magnesium. Identify also the atomic number, the mass number, the number of neutrons, and the electronic configuration. We can do it together. As usual, this number is the atomic number, which is the number of protons and the number of electrons as well. The number on the top, which is the mass number, which is equal to 24. It is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons, the total number of particles inside the nucleus. We can calculate neutrons by subtracting the atomic number from the mass number. So 24 minus 12 equal 12. The electronic configuration is 2, then 8 in the L energy level, and then 2 electrons only in the outer energy level. Can you identify the following elements? Calcium with atomic number 20 and aluminum with atomic number 13. The electronic configuration is always the key. The calcium, the 20 electrons of the calcium will be arranged as the following: 2, 8, 8, 2. And because calcium has less than 4 electrons in the outer energy level, it is a metal. Aluminum with 13 atomic number, 13 electrons. So the electronic configuration is 2, 8, 3. It's also a metal because the outer energy level contains less than 4 electrons. Properties of metals. They are solid except mercury, which is liquid. Mercury is a metal. It's the only metal which is liquid. You can find it inside thermometers. It is the shiny metallic element inside thermometers. It is the only metal that is in a liquid state. Most of metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. They are malleable and ductile, so they can be shaped. They have luster. They are shiny. They contain 1, 2, or 3 electrons in their outermost energy level. As we said before, less than 4. They are active elements, and during chemical reactions, atoms of metals tend to give. It means they lose. They lose the outer electrons and change to positive ions. So what do you know about positive ions? It's an atom that has lost an electron or more during the chemical reaction. Look to this example. This is sodium with electronic configuration 281. Only 1 electron is found in the outer energy level. During chemical reaction, sodium tends to lose this electron, changing to 2 electrons in the K energy level and only 8 electrons in the L energy level. So the total is 10 instead of 11. So it lost 1 electron. Now it's a positive ion. Magnesium, the same idea. It has 2 electrons in the outer energy level. During a chemical reaction, it will lose these 2 electrons and become with only 10 electrons in its electronic configuration, changing it into a positive ion also. Properties of positive ions. They have less energy levels than their atoms. They have less electrons than protons. This is common sense because they lost electrons and they become positively charged. Why? Why they carry a positive charge? Because the number of protons inside the nucleus becomes more than the number of electrons outside the nucleus. So this means that it is a positively charged ion. And the number of positive charges will be equal to the number of the lost electrons. So sodium will lose 1 electron, so 1 positive charge. But magnesium will lose 2 electrons, so it will change into 2 positively charged positive ion. Now let's discuss non-metals. They are also elements, but with more than 4 electrons in their outermost energy level. Look to chlorine. Chlorine is a non-metal with 17 electrons arranged as follows. 2 electrons in the inner K level, 8 electrons in the middle L level, and 7 electrons in the last or the outer M level. Total 17. Look to the outer energy level. It contains 7 electrons, more than 4. So it's a non-metal. Oxygen, the same. 2 electrons in the inner energy level, 6 electrons in the outer energy level. Total is 8 electrons with 6 electrons in the outer energy level, more than 4. So it's a non-metal. Properties of non-metals. Some are solids, others are gases, except bromine, which is liquid. Which was the liquid metal element? Try to remember. Yes, it's mercury. So what is the liquid non-metal element? Yes, it's bromine. Most of them are bad conductors of heat and electricity except graphite. Graphite is carbon, is made of carbon. You know the black substance that is inside the pencil? It is graphite. It is made of carbon. They are neither malleable or ductile, and they have no luster. Look to this sulfur. Sulfur is non-metal. It's not shiny. They contain 5, 6, or 7 electrons in their outermost energy level, so more than 4. And they are active elements. During chemical reactions, the atoms of nonmetals gain electrons from other atoms and change to negative ions. So it is the opposite to metals. Metals lose electrons and nonmetals gain electrons. So what is a negative ion? It's an atom that has gained an electron or more during the chemical reaction. Look to this example. This is chlorine, a nonmetal, with 7 electrons in the outer energy level. Chlorine in chemical reactions gains 1 electron to complete its outer energy level to 8 electrons. It changes to a negative ion. Why negative ion? Because the number of electrons will be more than the number of protons or the positive protons inside the nucleus. 17 protons, 18 electrons. So it's a negative ion because electrons carry negative charge. Oxygen, this is the second example. Oxygen has 6 electrons in the outer energy level. During chemical reactions, oxygen gains 2 electrons for its outer energy level to be filled with 8 electrons. Let's count together. 10 electrons, 8 protons, so the electrons become more than the protons. So it's a negative ion. Properties of negative ions. They have the same number of energy levels as their atoms because they gain electrons, and this is the opposite to the metals. They have less number of energy levels because they lose electrons. They have more electrons than protons, and this is also the opposite to metals, which have protons more than electrons. That's why the ions of nonmetals are negatively charged because electrons carry negative charges. They carry a number of negative charges equal to the number of the gained electrons. If you notice, chlorine will gain 1 electron, so it will acquire only 1 negative charge. Oxygen here will gain 2 electrons, so it will acquire 2 negative charges. Noble gases. What are noble gases? They are elements in which their outermost energy level is completely filled with electrons. The noble elements have 8 electrons in the outer shell, except helium, which has only 2. Each molecule consists of 1 single atom. They are inert. They do not participate in chemical reactions, and they do not form positive or negative ions. For example, helium is a noble gas with only 2 electrons in 1 energy level. Neon is a noble gas too, with 10 electrons arranged as follow: 2 in the inner energy level and 8 in the outer energy level. Argon, 2, 8, 8. So they are stable, they are inert, they do not participate in chemical reactions, they do not lose or even gain electrons. Now, time for questions. Write the electronic configuration of the following atoms and indicate the type of element and the type of ion. F9. F9 has 9 electrons arranged as follows: 2 electrons in the inner energy level and 7 electrons in the outer energy level. Fluorine element is a nonmetal. Why? Because it has more than 4 electrons in its outer energy level. When it will participate in a chemical reaction, it will gain 1 electron for the outer energy level to be filled with 8 electrons, and it will turn into a negative ion. Let's have another example. S16. So 2, 8, this is 10, and then 6 in the outer energy level. Sulfur is a nonmetal too because of the 6, more than 4. When it will participate in a chemical reaction, it will gain 2 electrons for the outer energy level to be filled with 8 electrons. And the sulfur ion is a negative ion. Another example, lithium with only 3 electrons. So 2 electrons in the inner energy level and only 1 in the outer. Lithium is a metal because its outer energy level has less than 4 atoms. When it will participate in a chemical reaction, it will lose 1 electron and the ion will become positive. Argon, 18 electrons, 2, 8, 8. Notice that the outer energy level is filled, completely filled with 8 electrons. So it's a noble gas. It is inert and does not form ions at normal conditions. Now, try to guess the scientific term. Gas elements that do not participate in chemical reactions because their outermost energy level is completely filled with electrons. These are inert noble gases. A metal or a non-metal atom which lost or gained 1 or 2 or more electrons during chemical reactions. It's an ion. Thank you. Dear students, thank you for watching. See you later in other science episodes.